Okay, we're starting the Saturday regular monthly meeting of the Northeast Travis County Democrats, this being September 21st. And so look at our agenda. The first person I'd like to, um, that was the call to order. And we'd like to also get it so that people have approved the proposed agenda. Do I see a second? Thank you. And if it's no objections, the agenda is approved. Now if we could go to candidates and issue open mics. Start off with give it up for our Travis County Democratic Chair, Ms. Sete.
Can I stand right here, or you want me to be behind?
No, we just grab a mic.
Perfect. Okay. Is this on? Can you all hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Pooja Sethi. I am the Travis County Democratic Party Chair. I have the best job in Travis County, I like to say, especially around this time, because I get to talk to and uplift you all. So thank you for letting me do this. We've got a lot of things to do today, and in all honesty, thank you for letting me go first, because after this, I am running to the AAPI candidate forum, and then I think I have to go to Circle C Dems, and then I have to go somewhere else that the staff put on my calendar, and then the Blue Action Party tonight, because they are our partners. So thank you. Thank you for accommodating me. So here's what we got going on. This morning, we had a Southeast block walk. I went at 8:30 in the morning. We had about 22 volunteers show up for that one area. I know, it's amazing. That is not even including all the precinct chair block walks that are happening. I know in my 4 Points area, they're trying to do 3,000 department lit drops this morning. I know up in Northwest at the same exact time, Krista Lane was launching a block walk. And I also know there were other block walks going around. Then I stopped by the office to grab some yard signs, and then there were 7 more people there at the coordinated campaign office who were ready to go block walk around Travis County, just walked in to do that. So I know, this is the momentum we have going. It is amazing. Not only do we have an amazing Harris Waltz ticket going on right now, I don't know if you all look at polls. I look at them probably more than is healthy for any person to look at them. And while we should always get out and vote and not just rely on polls, I think one of the polls I saw most recently had Colin Allred up by 1 point against Senator Ted Cruz. So yes, do not believe polls, but use it to get out there and knock doors, because the way that we keep those numbers up is that we are knocking doors and getting people out to vote. And I like to tell people, yes, Travis County is blue. The way we flip Texas is right here in Travis County, because we need to get out more voters. When we go out and knock doors, the chances of us getting a Democratic voter is the highest of any other place in the state. So to that end, I'm going to tell you about all our volunteer opportunities. So just off the cuff, every Saturday at 10 a.m., we have an organizing rally at the 601 East 53rd Street, our coordinated campaign headquarters. Come, if you've never block walked before, learn how to block walk. Saturdays, we are launching 3 block walks every Saturday. And then Sunday, we are block walking we are launching another 3 block walks. That is 7 events every weekend, just the county party is doing. That's not including what the state party is doing in partnership with us and Texas Blue Action. There are plenty of opportunities for us to get out there. If you all cannot do weekends, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have got an amazing number of volunteers coming to help sort our lit, and they are adding rubber bands. Thank you. I see some of our volunteers here. I know. And there's rubber bands, and they're doing postcards and adding other lit to sort lit and get it all together for the block walks for the weekend. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays at the coordinated campaign office. Wednesday nights, we've got postcard writing with Texas Blue Action. And then we have phone banks 4 times a week. You get on a dialer and you can hit thousands of people across Travis County in just a couple hours with our phone banks. You can do that on Zoom or in person. So really, I mean, this takes a village. We are an amazing village. If you guys want some inspiration, I want to say about a month and a half ago, we had 18 people at our volunteers. We now have, how many people were at the last one? I want to say about 120 people twice a week. We've got more than 300 people volunteering just in our office every week. So the momentum's amazing. And what I like to say, when Texas goes blue, the country goes blue.
Yes.
And it starts right here in Travis. So join us. We've got, 6.5 weeks left. We can do this. I am very excited. Look at you all on a Saturday afternoon. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. And how many days until Elections Day? 46 days till Election Day. That was a test. And you passed. It's just a, yeah, it's just a blur. Okay, and I know we wanted to, we have one petition here. You want to get up and say a few words about it?
Good morning. My name is Ora Houston, and I'm here with a petition for the Daughtery Arts Center. They've been trying to move into a new building for about 20 years. The city council keeps holding them back for various reasons. And so I'll pass this around. So if you want to sign it, or here's this, what is this thing called? A cue card. I can pass that around. And those of you who have those kind of phones can get on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ora Houston. And I know we have a candidate from the Railroad Commission. Railroad Commission. Oh, okay. And we have other candidates here. How about Amy Moore? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Moore, and I'm running for the AISD at-large trustee position. So that's anybody in the city that can vote for that. And just a little bit about me. I grew up in a small town up in the Texas Panhandle, came to UT, ended up in California for 10 years, working in accounting for a large company, and then I taught math for 3 years. Since 2002, we moved back here, and I've been involved in in AISD since then. First as a parent, but then for the last 15 years, I've spent at Austin Partners in Education and primarily supporting programs that are in most of our Title I middle and high schools across the district. So I'm running basically because I want to be part of a board that's moving our district to really hit our mission of making sure that we prepare all students to thrive in college, career, and life. And I'm not going to lie, it's a tough race in the sense that there are a lot of issues facing AISD at the current moment. So I'd like to just bring my 20 plus years of experience and be able to help us as we solve the budget crisis, because the state is not playing nice in public education and hasn't been for a long time. I'd like to bring that knowledge of what it's like to work alongside in classrooms at our most underserved communities and bring that voice back to the board. So I'm just asking for y'all to, humbly or respectfully endorse me. And then if y'all have any questions, I'll stick around after the meeting. But Amy Moore, AISD.
Thank you very much. Well, we'd like to get, is Catherine back? How about Lynn Bracewell? Oh, you could just.
Kathy and I are teams on the
Yeah,
road together.
but this is, you just signed up as a candidate.
Oh, I meant to sign up to talk about Prop A.
Okay, Prop A.
Yes.
Okay. Then
So I'll
just
sit
keep,
here
yeah.
till it's time.
And we may have to take it a little out of order since our railroad commissioner candidate is still not back. Okay. Oh, Catherine, you want to come up and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Sorry about that. Thank you. There we go. Good. Is it still morning? Good morning.
It
For
is.
a couple more minutes. My name is Catherine Culbert, and I am your Democratic nominee for the Texas Railroad Commission. Let me first start with the Railroad Commission is not what you probably think it is. The Railroad Commission has nothing to do with trains, nothing to do with railroads, nothing with trains. They are the oil and gas regulator for the state. So much more important for what happens here in Texas. Obviously, oil and gas is a big part of our economy. It's very important to the state. It gives us a lot of revenue, which is great. However, we need to be doing it smarter and better and more efficiently. Right now, our three railroad commissioners are climate deniers. They don't think that our human actions have anything to do with the climate change. And we need people that understand science. And I don't want to say believe in science, because science is not Santa Claus. It's not something to believe in. It's happening. So I am a chemical engineer. I work as a process safety engineer for an oil and gas company in Houston. And what that means is I spend my days being proactive in helping the company I work for follow all the regulations, make sure all of our chemicals, our oil, our gas, everything stays in the pipe where it's supposed to, so that we are protecting our workers, so that our workers are able to go home at the end of the day in the same or better condition than what they came to work in. It's also protecting our communities where we operate in, so that our communities can thrive as well. And it's protecting our environment, which is extremely important to me. And that's what I want to help do. So protecting our workers, protecting our land, protecting our water. Right now, a lot of the things that are happening that the Railroad Commission is not regulating are threatening drinking water all over the state, and threatening our ability to use our land here in the state. So I want to help address some of those issues. And my opponent gets a lot of her money, both for her campaign, and then also her private money is from the oil and gas industry. She owns, we don't even know exactly how much she owns in mineral rights, and she makes millions and millions of dollars every year off of not regulating the industry that she's supposed to be regulating. Christy Craddock. Tom Craddock's daughter. Yes. So there's a couple things we can look at, right? We can look at corruption versus ethics at the Railroad Commission. We can look at injuring our environment and our workers versus protecting our environment and our workers. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Again, Catherine Colbert for Railroad Commission. Thank you so much.
And the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the August 17th meeting. And it's on the back of your agendas. And I can tell you, I've looked at them and they're pretty near perfect. Is there a second? And all in favor say aye. Oh, you are so great. And the next thing is the treasurer's report.
I'm not part of your panel. I was just here to speak about the issue. Okay,
Right.
just want to make sure you.
And Jane, you want to come up and give a treasurer's report? Are we solvent?
Okay. I don't want to confuse people even more than they're already confused. Sorry.
Okay, this is just a,
Oh, sorry.
well, it's the angle, I think. So we just have a short report. We were up at the end of the last report at about $4,400, and we had deposits of $375, and we've spent on all kinds of signs and campaign materials for all of our volunteers for the super precincts here, and also, so that was about $1,100, but we still at this time have over about $3,640 still in our balance.
Thank you. And that's 3,000, right? Okay, and that was a great report. Super precinct business. as you're getting up to speak, I just want to. We've got a bunch of signs there. If you in the back, please take them. You know, we're asking for a $5 contribution, but really we need to just get the signs out. So, and also we've got door hanger flyers there for you to grab some as well. Go ahead.
All right, I'm Ray Rader. I'm the Windsor Park Super Precinct Chair, which is Mueller, Windsor Park, St. John's, and University Hills. And yay! Carol's out of town this week, so I'm just sort of covering all of the Super Precinct business. But there's a lot going on. We were out canvassing in all the precincts. We had a big event in Mueller 106 and 107 this Tuesday. Dozens of people signed up to be volunteers. That was really well organized. So we are going full speed ahead. As you heard from Pooja, there's a lot going on in the party and a lot going on in Northeast Travis. So Northeast Austin. All right, please do.
So at the Pflugerville meeting last week, I spoke with Susan Stewart, who does a lot of voter registration in Manor. And there's a big call for voter registration assistance for the East Travis group in Manor. So we may see if we can schedule some time with that.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Good to know, because voter registration continues till October 7th. So everyone get out there and keep going.
Thank you very much. And the next item on the agenda is unfinished business. I think the main thing that we have is for Emil to give us a report on our endorsement process. It's going to go live today at 3.
Thank you. The okay. We're having an online endorsement vote for those positions that we have not previously endorsed a candidate for, which include President and Vice President of the United States, Travis County actions that contests that are on, City of Austin, City of Pflugerville, ACC, and AISD positions. Okay, those are ones we're addressing. The actual vote will kick in today at 3 o'clock, and the vote will go through for 7 days until next Friday at 3 o'clock. It will send out emails with your link and access code to the 70 members in good standing with their dues and are eligible to vote.
How do we check on our standing?
I believe you're getting one, ma'am. Yeah. We have a 2-week cutoff before a vote, so that we don't get people piling on at the last moment.
Is it coming from Election Buddy?
It's coming from Election Buddy. You should get a notice today. If you don't get a notice today, you can contact me and through the website, netcodems.com, and I'll look up and see if I've made a mistake or if you're not up to date on your dues. And we will publish the results as soon as I can process them next Friday and post them online and send them out to the usual culprits.
Thank you. And once again, I want to push the signs. I had to carry those things in from my car, and I don't want to take any back with me. And also if need be, yes. But because we need to get them out. I've noticed signs going up more and more, haven't you? Right? Yeah. And also, don't forget to grab an affordable childcare sign. They are no charge, and it's also very important. Okay. the next item is new business. And I think I'll just introduce the panel. We have two programs today. One, yeah, no, you can stay here.
She's different company.
Well, you're fine.
I don't want to confuse things.
Too late. I'm confused. So, without further ado, I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves, and we'll go ahead and start with Bridget, as she is our county commissioner.
Thanks so much. Hi, everybody.
And also with her is.
Hi, I'm Kathy McHorse, and I'm the coalition manager for Affordable Childcare Today, which will be on your ballot as Travis County Prop A.
Yay. Okay, so not that we're biased, but go ahead and start talking about it.
So part of what we want to talk about today is this proposition. We put it on the ballot as the Travis County Commissioners, in large part because it will allow us to serve more people all throughout Travis County. But I have to give a huge shout out to Kathy McHorse and two other women who have done the bulk of the work for several years now to bring this proposition to us so that the community can vote on it. And that's Councilmember Allison Alter and Libby Doggett. And there's others involved, but those are the three primary people who have really made this possible. Travis County gets all the credit for putting it on the ballot. It was like we lifted our little finger on that part compared to the heavy lifting they did for several years, doing the research, figuring out what kinds of models worked well in other places. And hopefully Kathy will tell you a little bit more about it. But the bottom line is this vote, I believe, will be an absolutely transformational investment in the future of our children and our community. How many people, and realizing maybe this is going to involve some of your grandchildren, but how many people have had personal experiences with difficulty getting kids into childcare or being able to pay for it? When my kids were young, I had trouble, and my husband had to stay home part-time to provide childcare. So this is the reality, and it's only gotten worse. So I feel really strongly that while we are asking people to raise their property taxes, for the average value house, I think it comes out to about $10 a month. That's more than you spend on one cup of coffee at Starbucks these days. But I just think we have an opportunity to truly change the fate of so many children who do not have quality childcare or can't get into childcare, and for their parents who can't get work or take jobs because they can't find childcare that they can afford. For a lot of people, they'd be earning about as much as it costs to put their children in childcare. It's a state college education cost. It's like what, $13,000 a year on average. So for me, this is just it's a rare opportunity for us to truly change the future in a incredibly powerful way. There's a lot more to say about it, but the research that Kathy and the others have done really documents that you either invest in childcare or you're likely to be paying through the criminal justice system later in life. There are really profound documents, data, metrics proving what a profound difference it makes for children when you invest in quality childcare at an early age. That's what this will do.
And we go ahead and get Kathy to talk a little bit about how. Just grab the mic, Kathy, and about what this is, and is it something that's permanent, or at least till the state comes forward?
Yeah. So, some fun facts about the child care system is the federal government funds sufficient money to the state of Texas to cover only 10% of our low income families to have affordable quality childcare. And the reimbursement rates they pay are far below the actual cost of providing care. The state puts $0, none. We know they underfund public education, but we know through brain science that babies are born learning. So we don't invest in their education in their most critical period of brain development, which is the first 3 years. So right now we have 5,000 children on the waiting list in Travis County for state child care subsidies. That funding only serves 3,000 children birth through 13. There are 24,000 children in Travis County under age 6 in low-income families. This funding would create an annual funding stream, an investment of $75 million annually in our community. This would fund full-day year-round care. It would double the number of infants, toddlers, and 3-year-olds who have full-day year-round care in our community. Those programs have to meet high-quality standards. It would also fund 4,000 children and youth in after-school and summer programs from pre-K through 12th grade. In that sector, in terms of no cost, low cost after school and summer programs that meet quality standards, for every child in the program, there are 3 waiting to get in. And we know this impacts whether children are retaining the amazing things they're learning in our school districts in Manor and AISD. And we also know that Northeast Travis County is a child care desert. So that means for every child who has just a spot in a facility, not even the funding for it, there are 3 who don't. This funding would also expand the hours of childcare to the early morning, evening, and weekend. Our childcare programs are facing a staffing crisis. They make $12 to $15 an hour. They cannot live in Travis County on that. So they drive to Travis County to work for $12 to $15 an hour. They're not doing it. We have a 30 to 40% turnover rate in the field. That's not good for kids. It's not good for families. It causes a lot of stress on everyone. It also costs our childcare programs when they have turnover, which is bumping up the cost for everyone in the community, whether have a subsidy or not. So when we can hire more staff because they're getting a higher wage through this new funding, everything will stabilize. We don't have to pass costs on to families who do pay for care, because right now it's either that low reimbursement rate from the subsidy or what families can pay. So families are after covering for those turnover costs. And I got 3 emails today from childcare programs that think they will not be open by Christmas at this point. Yeah, they can serve children, but no one has the funding. The parents can't pay for the care. So their childcare programs empty with closed classrooms because they can't afford a teacher, or the families can't afford to pay for the care. So this funding will dramatically change this community's trajectory. We're also making sure that everyone is meeting high quality standards, and also ensuring that we're supporting childcare programs. They are on a less than 1% profit margin, right? No one's making money in childcare. We are giving them coaching and resources so they run their childcare businesses more efficiently. Most are small businesses. There are church-based programs and there are a few nonprofits, but most of them are women, and often women of color, who were excellent teachers or early childhood educators. And they're like, you know what? I can run this program, or I have to, because otherwise it's going to close. We've worked with programs that are still operating on pen and paper, checks and shoeboxes, because they haven't had the coaching and resources to run a business efficiently, and they don't have the funding to buy technology that will invest in childcare management software and those kind of programs. So these are, not only are we investing in more children having access to childcare, close to 10,000 kids between new seats as well as expanded hours, but we're also stabilizing the sector with the resources they need to thrive.
Is this working? Is this working? The location of this proposition, is it like way down at the bottom of the ballot?
We believe it'll be right after state level, because state, then county.
And it's Travis County Proposition A. That's how it'll appear on your ballot.
Okay, well, that's great. So I think one of the things we want to tell people to do is, you could vote straight ticket Democratic, but you got to go to the bottom of the ballot. So, Commissioner, I'm real pleased to see that there's this whole dynamic that seems to be happening of not putting as much money in criminal, what they call justice, but to try to keep people from getting into criminal justice.
There's an absolute paradigm shift underway at Travis County, and I really have to give credit to Ann Howard and Andy Brown. They've been really profound leaders on this, but the whole court is absolutely behind this, and it does come from this. There's a movement in the country, and there's been a tremendous amount of research and work done on this, that it's a criminal waste of money to put so much money into an incarceration model instead of investing in diverting people from jails and providing them, in many cases, it's the health care and medication that they need. A huge number of people in our jails have mental health diagnoses. The jail is the worst place to provide mental health care to people. It's not designed for it. Our staff doesn't have those skills. Our staff is great. I have huge shout outs to our corrections officers and our operation, but it is not the right place for people whose main so-called crime is untreated or undiagnosed mental health issues. So that's a big part of the push. We are actively attempting to divert people, and now we don't have places for them now, which is why they keep ending up in our jail. But I have to give a big shout out to Central Health as well. They are a very active partner and have a vision for developing a continuum of care which can help to stabilize people, get them on proper medication, get them on their feet, and get them out of this cycle of, because what's happening now is people are cycling through the emergency rooms. They are only allowed a limited duration of care, and then they're discharged. And for quite a while, I think it's improving a little now, but for quite a while, the area outside Del Med on 15th Street was one of the highest arrest sites, because people who were mentally ill and were not yet well or stabilized were being discharged and were engaging in activities that caused them to be arrested. So there's a massive effort to shift that paradigm into a greater investment into trying to help get people well and back on their feet and out of the criminal justice gerbil wheel.
Well, let me go ahead and ask Kathy real quick. You talk about how parents can't get into childcare. With the passage of this proposition, we hope, how will that statistic, you think, change in the coming year?
Yeah, well, I think in the first year, once we'll get it set up, like I said, these investments will immediately, we do have to set it up, right? Like it will take some time. It won't start immediately, but in the first year, there's a lot of planning done. But when we are able to get the funding out, we will double the number of infants and toddlers and effectively eliminate the waiting list for the state subsidy. So that's 5,000 people into the workforce or completing the training programs that they need. I think the other piece is it will also dramatically help us with our school readiness and our cost to our school system, because when children are in high quality care, they enter kindergarten with the skills they need to be successful, and that requires the high quality care. Hopefully,
the other piece of it is this also includes investment in after school care. And these programs are targeted for people who are at 275% of essentially the area median income. These are people that are not well off. So these are people who will need help with these kinds of services. That's the target population for these programs. But it also will help with after school care. And that's the area where, again, working parents, frequently are not home because they're working. And Jeff Trevelyan says this all the time. My kids who are in good after school programs are not my kids who are getting in trouble. And so the whole thing is an investment in the kind of care that will change the trajectory on these kids' lives. And it's all part of that larger vision for investing more in prevention and diversion and real education and care for.
Well, I really wish I was coming into this world because it's getting a little better. You were going to say, Kathy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know we have some of our friends from unions who have been supporting this work. We have a massive need to invest in our community's infrastructure, our mobility infrastructure. And I think the projection from Workforce Solutions is that our workforce needs will increase 80% by 2040. And so if we're going to achieve these goals, we need folks who can participate in apprenticeships programs, be able to take jobs in the construction system and the healthcare system. And all of these also require those non-traditional hours, those early morning and evening and weekend hours. So with that particular investment, I think it will really help folks take on jobs and complete training programs that they need.
I was just talking with Tamara Atkinson, who heads up Workforce Solutions, and she said business leaders are asking, why should we support Proposition A, Travis County Proposition A for childcare? And she says to them, well, do you have trouble filling positions because parents can't find childcare and come to work at your businesses? And the answer, of course, is yes. So that's the other piece of this. It may not be immediately obvious to people. When we invest in this kind of childcare, we allow people to be able to go to work. So it's absolutely a workforce investment as well as a profound investment in childcare. I believe this will pass, but it is going to take our support and our talking with our neighbors and explaining it to them. But I think historians will look back on the community and really marvel at this profound investment that changed and altered the future of so many children and so many people in our community, both children and their parents.
Well, I'm really looking forward to a change in the culture. And I think getting to this November election and of course, I won't be able to officially say that we're supporting it, but I think we will. And if we could go ahead and get the other members of the second panel to come up. But I mean, this Proposition A, I am so proud that Travis County has stepped into the breach.
But really, thanks so much to the women who did the hard work. So you got a question there.
I was going to say, I have flyers, buttons. We have buttons and signs. Everything's free. And if you need more, let me know.
Yeah, take the signs home. Another thing that we don't want to carry out. Yes.
I just would like to say that I did mental health consultation in childcare, early childhood education centers, quality centers, and I can't tell you how much I endorse Prop A, and I think it's really wonderful that Travis County is doing this. So I wanted to share
That shout out of support is coming from my wife, Melanie Walter Mahoney. And so we know how we're going to vote at home. Yes, I think if you're going to say anything, please come up and use the mic. That's correct. Yeah, we'll do it quick as we're transitioning.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Tim. So yes, there is a second Prop A. It is a little confusing, but they are both about our kids, our future, and how we invest in our young people for that strong future. And yes, AISD's Prop A is another tax ratification election. And what it will do is bring $41 million new dollars into Austin ISD. That's more than $550 per student. That's also an annual investment in our kids. We're going to use it to increase our academic supports for our students, to bring some new mental health supports in for our kids, which we know are badly needed. We're going to use it to increase pay for our teachers and our hourly employees, our librarians, our other staff. Going to use it to reduce our deficit. We know the state is not paying. There was a panel. I was part of a panel here with a Manor trustee and a Del Valley trustee a couple of months ago, talking about just this. And we are doing this because Austin, we know our community values education, and we're stepping into that gap that the state's created for us. So yes, we're hoping that you will support that and endorse that as well. And thank you for Northwest Austin for being so engaged with our schools. You have a really long, strong history of that. So thank you.
I'm just going to make a quick point.
Okay, add a quick point.
Okay. I just want to underscore what Lynn said. There is, and I'm a former journalist. I wrote about this in the 80s. The Republicans and religious extremists have been playing a long game on working to defund public education. And mostly they're not saying the quiet part out loud, but the Wilkes brothers and Tim Dunn, these religious extremists in West Texas who are very, very wealthy oligarchs, they're the ones who gave Abbott $6 million. And it's part of the reason why Abbott pushed so hard for vouchers and why he went after the Republicans who didn't support it and defeated a number of them in Republican primaries. But we are looking at an existential threat, not just to public education, but to our entire democratic process. They are really pushing to create a theocracy and religious schools, and not broad religious schools, very narrow, extreme Christian, extremist, schools. So this is a really serious issue, and it's unfortunate because it's complicated, and for a lot of people, it's just going to be a question of cost. But I say to people, what's the value of our democracy? Because that's really what this is about and what we're asking people to support.
I think we've got to start our panel, which is going to be talking to us about how exciting it was to be at a national convention. But also there's a question that came up about whether Proposition A is also going to have a positive consequence with children with disabilities.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a really important question. And one of the things that this funding will do is make it more viable for our childcare programs to really meet the needs of children with disabilities. Because right now, our staff are only required to have 30 hours and a GED, 30 hours of training. It's less than to become a dog groomer. I hate to say that, but that is the case to work in childcare. And when we implement quality standards and we pay a higher wage, that makes the difference. I know there are very few programs that really provide an inclusive environment for children with disabilities. And there's one of them that I've been a long time involved in the community. It's a nonprofit. And they actually reduce their class sizes and add additional staff to serve children in a truly inclusive environment. But to be able to do that, you have to receive payment for the true cost that it requires to provide care. And the state doesn't do that, and families can't afford it. So this is one of the reasons why we really need it, so we can train our staff and make sure that they have sufficient funding to make the accommodations to meet children specifically where their needs are.
Yeah, I think question. For this year, we'll get to the November election. We're going to do Proposition A, and then in 2 years, we're going to take over the state, okay, and get it so that we don't have all this local efforts trying to make for their failures. So we've got 4 mics here and 4 different perspectives. People were different plates in the national convention. And we're going to start, if Brian's okay with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, howdy. My name is Brian Pena, president of the UDEMS, but I was also one of the delegates that went to Chicago with all these folks. I mean, I think main thing was that, for the first time we got to see the amount of energy that was in the room with, amongst thousands of other folks from all across the country. And I think that was just really exciting. And People ask me all the time, did anything important happen? Was there a lot of business? I don't think there was any. I think it was more just a lot of fun, but not a whole lot of, party business or anything like that. But I really enjoyed it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Hendricks, Precinct Chair 133, and I was a delegate from Lloyd Doggett's district, so appreciate everyone that had the faith to send me there. Of course, we all got elected Biden delegates and expected, I think, a very different convention. I'm with the Laborers International Union. Joe Biden is the most union president we've ever had, and very excited about him. But as Brian said, the shift that happened and the excitement that was in Chicago, the excitement that was at home with people watching TV, and to see 50,000 people, whether volunteers, activists, delegates, et cetera, come into Chicago and except for the shuttles, I think, do a really good job of putting on a convention that was absolutely awesome, was really inspiring. And, one of the takeaways I had just as another kind of side note was it's interesting. We all know that the media spins and twists things and all that. But the number, and I don't know if the others will confirm this, but the number of texts I was getting saying, "Are you safe? Are you okay? Are there, what is happening there to you?" Because they were blowing out of proportion the activists that were there, making their ability to give their side of the view or point of view, that they really made it on the news seem like we were in some sort of dangerous situation. I have never felt more safe in my life. There were cops from all over America. There were federal, state, local, outside our hotel. I think they were Minnesota or something, but there were just police everywhere in a good way that was helping us feel safe, I think. So that was something that I think we all need to keep in mind, is how the media really does twist things. But I thought it was an inspiring convention. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And the amount of energy that we all left with, not just being in the room, but watching it at home, I think was next level inspiring. And the messaging that we were hearing, instead of being against something, we really, I think, turned into being for something, and a really message of hope and love. So.
No, you got it. Nope. Yeah. Dan, you want to go ahead and go next?
Hello. Oh, okay. So I might have had a little different perspectives because I was an alternate delegate and I didn't sit with the, when they were given the announcements on the floor of their roll call. But I was there. And besides the convention itself, which was super exciting, in fact, I guess on one of the nights I sat with a person from Lebanon who was there to learn about our democracy, but so that they could model a new movement there after, a new political party to model after what we're doing here. So yeah, you get to sit with different people. But we also had during the daytime, we had caucus meetings at the McCormick Place, that center over there, and I attended meetings of the labor group, the women's caucus, and the environmental caucus there. And at the caucus meetings, we had folks like Tim Walz and Nancy Pelosi and Jamie Raskin and all these, and Chuck Schumer, all these folks that we know, they were there talking to us. And it was really, really good sharing and time. So, yeah. Anyway, so it was great and really super exciting. You were talking about the safety. I think the first day, that's when we were delayed and we sat in the buses for like 2.5 hours because there had been a protest that day. And so we were finally able to leave the buses and go in. So we didn't see the activity that was going on there. But another evening, though, we saw some protesters. They were standing there when we were headed to our buses to go back to the hotel. And, they were just holding signs and there was no arguments or loud shouting or anything like that. It was a, reasonable group. So I feel for them because, because it's a tragedy what's happening there with the Palestinians. But, you know, Biden can't make those decisions by himself. It's like it has to be them agreeing in Israel. Anyway.
Thanks, Jane. I got there by a different route. I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I shared this sentiment with so many people. I chose not to try and become a delegate because I just felt so strongly that Biden needed to step aside. And I love Biden. I'm a giant Biden fan. He has done more on climate than any other single person except for maybe Al Gore. And it's really profound what he's done with the Infrastructure Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, with so many policies that they've advanced that people are not aware of. These are the largest investments in clean energy and reversing climate change in the history of the planet. Seriously. So I'm a giant fan, but I just thought we are doomed if he's at the top of the ticket. And so I passed on becoming a delegate. And then when they picked Kamala, I was like, I can't believe I turned this down. So I put out about 20 fishing lines to just figure out how can I go as a guest. And Congressman Doggett, who gets large credit for Kamala being at the top of the ticket, he took tremendous heat from people for saying the truth. And people attacked him for being disloyal. And my point was, there's loyalty and there's honesty, and we've got to be honest about what's going on. So anyway, he got me a guest pass. I was able to go the last 2 days, and I was like a kid at Christmas. I've never been to a presidential convention before. So this was just unbelievably thrilling. And I have to say, the level of excitement was like in an electrical storm. I mean, the atmosphere was crackling with excitement. I was up in the bleachers for the most part, although I snuck down on the floor for the Wednesday night. The sheer professionalism of the presentation was unparalleled. I think they probably hired some really talented Hollywood producers because it ran like clockwork. They had so many people on the podium, and one of the many things that struck me and impressed me was the incredible depth and breadth of our Democratic leadership across the country. I'd never heard of half of these people. Who knows who the governor of Connecticut is? Do you know she's a woman? I mean, when they introduced her, I was like, what? Who knew that? So anyway, just profoundly talented, smart, thoughtful, articulate, charismatic Democratic leaders across the country. And they were showcased. They were on parade. And I think they did us all proud, but they are all remarkable leaders in their own right. And we got to see that. And it's a testament to the incredible quality of the speakers that Bill Clinton was one of the least interesting speakers of the whole thing. The other thing I want to say, and I've hardly been able to say this without blubbering, I had an incredible sense of patriotism, and I consider myself patriotic. I love my country, but I've been so furious at how the Republicans have been wrapping themselves in the flag while they're urinating on what it stands for. I've just been like, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel good flying the flag and chanting USA to all these stupid things the Republicans are claiming it stands for. But when Kamala spoke about her experience, her parents' experience as immigrants, what they were able to achieve in this country, what it stands for, I was like, I was like, going through boxes of Kleenex. And there were people all around me weeping as well.
Well, I think that I agree. I watched the convention largely here, and I shared with my wife while we were watching it. This is not boring. It was really. It wasn't a convention. It was like a very deep, sophisticated
talent show. Incredible.
Yeah, it was. It kept it interesting, and I got the feeling that the Democratic Party was going from a hierarchy to a grassroots movement. So that's why I think it's going to happen here in Texas. So if you could go ahead and expand on your notions of what your impression was coming out of the convention.
let's talk about that. But really quickly, one of my favorite moments was much like Commissioner say. I think there was a lot of elected officials that realized once it was Kamala, they were flocking over, trying to get any way they can. And one of those people was Rep. Lulu Flores. I think she came on day 2 or 3. And the way it works is, you can kind of get into the convention center, but it's a lot harder to get inside the actual arena and, see what's happening. Because there's curtains, they kind of don't let you in unless you have a specific delegate pass. And I'm for one, I actually have a different experience. I didn't sit for much of the convention. My favorite part was I walked around the arena, and the amount of governors and senators that are walking around. I got photos with, I think, 17 governors and like 26 senators. And while I was doing that, I saw Rep. Flores. She was waiting outside. And I went up to her, was like, everything all right, Rep? She just had her knee surgery. She had her cane. And she was like, they're not letting me in. They said either I can go wait outside or I can have to walk up to the very, I don't even know where it was, the very top of the arena. She couldn't do it because she had just had her knee surgery. So I actually gave her my pass for all of day 3 while I just circled the arena looking for photos. So that was really nice to see, and she had some very kind words. So that was my favorite part, being able to make sure that Rep. Flores, I think it was her first convention as well. So she got to enjoy it as well, just as much as I did.
I was just thinking, one of the really strong feelings that I had when we were, waiting in lines to go through security and different things or heading out, while I'm sitting in the convention, feeling the kinsmanship and relationship with everybody, realizing we are all Americans. Those are my fellow Americans, and they were from all over. But, it was like a sisterhood, brotherhood, closeness, because we're representing democracy and we were witnessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just add that I know it's been mentioned what a diverse convention it was and how many great speakers there were, but it was really interesting from the first day I arrived, the day before it all started, talking to local workers, talking to my cab driver, things like that. They're kind of like, what's in town? Oh, yeah. And they weren't excited. But you could tell each day people that don't give a damn about politics necessarily were like, oh my God, did you hear that speech last night from so-and-so? And it's just because they saw it in the local news maybe, or they heard it on the radio, and just normal people getting more and more excited and interested, or seeing someone like them or hearing someone like them on TV, which never happens at a Republican convention unless you look like me, a straight white guy. And so it just was really inspiring seeing regular folks kind of get more and more excited, because that's exactly what has to happen here at the grassroots level, like you said, for us to really win this thing in a big way.
There were interesting commentary and write-up by various political journalists covering it. And one that I found really interesting was, I think, New York Times reporter said, I never thought I'd go to a Democratic convention and see a focus on faith, family, and freedom. And somebody else said, the Democrats are reclaiming patriotism and love of country. And I think that's really important. I think that's always been there, but the Republicans have, claimed some, proprietary ownership of it. And what they've done with it is it's just so profoundly wrong. I mean, I wear this t-shirt because I think it's important to say, let's make stupid embarrassing again. The fact that people are willing to give up their democracy and turn it over to an authoritarian nut job like Trump because they are paying a little more money for their eggs or their milk. I mean, come on. Yes, people have to afford food, but you're really ready to sacrifice your country and your democracy for that? I just think we have to start having really serious conversations with people. It's so alarming to me that half our country, at least half the people who are polled, are still firmly behind this guy when he just seems so incredibly unfit for office. I don't get it. I used to think Americans had a lot of common sense, and I don't believe that anymore after what I've seen with these election run-ups. But the other thing I want to say for the convention, it was so well organized that every next speaker that was coming up, they had hundreds of volunteers in the aisles with these big placards on poles, ready to pass them out. So like before Tim Waltz came up, who knew he was going to have his whole football team from high school where they went from a 0 season to winning the state championship, and they're all stuffed into their old, football, jerseys. But right before he came out, they passed out these poles with the big placards that said coach. And so when he came up on stage and then invited his football team to come out, everybody had these big placards on poles that said coach, and we were waving them and screaming. I mean, it was just an incredible, uplifting experience all the way around, and really, really brilliantly organized. My hat's off to whoever was involved in organizing it, because it was incredibly well done.
Well, this is being broadcast live on Facebook, and I think it's really good. Maybe we get one more mic for the next time. But I think the trajectory of the Democratic Party is really nowhere to go but up, and especially here in Texas. I mean, I was telling people that I want Kamala to get elected because I don't want the U.S. to turn into another Texas, and so we need to go ahead and try to project what you learn from the Democratic National Convention and what it will mean for Texas and the U.S. going into the future. I know there's NBC has a 2-hour special on the Russian who was guiding Trump.
Was last night.
Yeah, and so it really, I think it's coming out that Trump, which I don't want to focus on, but he's really kind of a mafia guy, and so, anyways, what is it that you want people to know about where the Democratic National Party is headed?
Yeah. I think the most important takeaway that I got from the convention was, I'm used to students. That's what I do all day long. We're used to, young people. Usually they don't really, we were talking about it beforehand. No one really cared about the convention. But when we came back and we started the first day of the school year, August 28th, we had dozens and dozens and dozens of students that had come up to us and asking, oh my God, that was incredible. How was it? When Biden dropped out, I sent out, a social media thing to students and precinct chairs asking, at the time we didn't know if Kamala was guaranteed the nominee, what are your thoughts? And we had hundreds and hundreds of students reach out, interested and excited. And I think we brought the energy home from the convention. In the last few weeks, between University Democrats and a few other clubs, already about 9,000 new students have been registered on UT.
Wow.
It's only been 4 weeks. We still have a couple weeks to go. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. We have all these dorm signs that say Longhorns or Harris Walls, and we'll walk through doing door knocks through all the dorms, and there's hundreds of them on doors everywhere. So the energy's there, not just at our normal demographics, but young people too. And I think that convention kind of proves that you had people from all walks of life, including a lot of young people, and the party's doing a lot of work to bring them into the fold, and because they know that they have a large role to play, especially in those swing states and in Texas. So very exciting to see.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, just the huge pivot that's happened very quickly. Clearly, Kamala has surrounded herself by some amazing campaign folks, and the message of hope, the message that's really filtering out to folks, including young people, which we have got to have, because unfortunately there are so many entrenched idiots out there that are still, as Bridget was alluding to, they're still going to vote for Trump, that women have got to turn out a big way. Young people have got to turn out in a big way. We've got to get minorities out. So all of these things have got to be hitting on all cylinders kind of for us to really dominate in this election. And I think that's what's happening, which is amazing. So.
Oh. Well, I think because I've been of the inspiration from all the convention and the campaign activities. I guess it's a firsthand thing that my oldest daughter, who is big Trump person. I did have a serious conversation with her, and she is dependent on Obamacare for her health care. And she has experienced miscarriages and these things. And I was able to tell her, that this is what Trump is about. He wants to do away with your health care option. And I told her about how that women who had miscarriages were not able to get the health care they needed with the DNC and so forth. And they have died from this. And so those things were very meaningful to her. And so, this big Trump person has realized that has made a big mistake in her views, and she's ready to change and go for Kamala.
Yeah, I think we really are at a turning point at a profound historical level. There are really dangerous reactionary movements happening around the country, around the world, and a huge part of it is the fear of strangers, the fear of immigrants. And so, you saw it so clearly when Trump killed the bipartisan immigration solution bill and literally said that would be bad for me. And we see this in all the ads. They're attacking Colin Allred on immigration. They attack Beto on immigration. He wants to tear the wall down. So they're using this fear to try and poison the whole social fabric. And the contrast with Kamala, who has this powerful personal story of being the child of immigrants, who has the opportunity to become president of the United States, and who's benefited from this, and it's part of this larger narrative of our country. So we have this horrible stark choice that reminds me of like the Terminator movies with Trump, where there's this awful, dark, terrible, oppressive future versus hope and opportunity and freedom and choice for people. So I think there is so much at stake. I genuinely believe Trump could wreck the world if he got elected. And so it's not just, wouldn't it be nice to have Kamala? It is vote like our lives depend on it, because they do. So I'm so inspired by all the young people, all the volunteers. We're hearing these stories over and over again. People are signing up to register to vote in record numbers, are volunteering at party headquarters at record numbers, showing up at club meetings and that kind of thing. So we have a very limited period of time to get this done. And I think it's going to be close. As much as I love Kamala and I'm so impressed with everything the Democrats have done, I still think it's going to be close. Well, I hope so, but we can't assume that, and we got to work hard to make that happen. So wrap it with that. Thank you.
Yes, I think I agree with you that I'm very optimistic. I think that we're going to elect a new U.S. senator, and I have some hope that we're going to elect Kamala here in Texas. So and go all the way down to the bottom of the ballot. So this is what we need to do. Work with your precinct chairs, work in your precincts, and let's make it so that we have a relationship, social relationships, where we're looking at each other being family members and a good family system. Yes.
I would like, Brian, would you speak around the issues of voting on campus?
Yeah, so I know that over the summer and last few weeks, there's a lot of talks. The FAC's gone. That was our historic polling location that we'd had as early as, I want to say, we have a record going back to 1988 was the first time we've seen it been used and hadn't been gotten away with yet. We started with 4 polling locations about 6 years ago. We're down to 1. And that was, the FAC was the last one. They got rid of it. And the reason why it was such a big deal was, yes, they gave us a polling location at the Union next door, but they cut the machines in half. And that's the important part to know. And thanks to our county commissioner and our Judge Brown and the clerk, they're working on it. I think we're back up to a normal amount of machines. But at the end of the day, we just need more polling locations. We're a campus of 50,000 people in about a 1 square mile radius. It's a lot of folks for one polling place, one real central one. But what UDEMS has already done, and thanks to some of the folks in this room that have contributed, we purchased shuttles. So we have 2 charter buses that are going to be running on the last day of early vote and election day, which is when lines in 2022 exceeded 4 hours. And those are going to be running. They're 50-person charter buses every 15 minutes. And they're going to be shuttling people down to the Austin Rec Center and up to LBJ to hopefully keep those lines as low as possible. So it's a big undertaking, but it's what needs to be done to make sure that students don't have to wait 4 hours to vote. We're working on it.
Yeah.
Can I ask real quick, would it help to have extended hours for more than the last 2 days? Because that's been something Glenn Maxey's pushing for, and we're trying to figure out if we can.
We are a mega polling place, so we will go till 10 p.m. On the last 2 days. I'm not sure. I don't know how that works, but I mean, yeah, it definitely would. Our minds is the clerk released a memo saying that lines are a mixture of, people not being registered and a lot of that. And that's true that, people need to update their information. But it's also just the fact that it's an insane amount of people. It's an insane amount of thousands and thousands of students trying to vote at one polling place. So we just need more machines. We need more locations. But we're hoping that shuttle will cut down on times as best as it can.
Well, it's really great to see that we've got a lot of innovative thinkers here that are trying to, Attorney General Paxton has his minions all over the place, including the president of UT is an ex-AG attorney. They are doing their machinations. And we've got to keep going with the idea that we are trying to create a new loving family, understanding that these people are going to be trying to sabotage that effort. But I think we're starting to get them on the run. And thank you so much for going. I wish I could have been there with you. Maybe next time. And we're if anybody wants to have another comment or quick question, please come up and use the mic. Steve, you want to say something?
No, you said exactly what I was going to say about the AG.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I'm looking forward to someday having a new president of UT Austin. Maybe it could be Brian. So let's keep working and sure.
Does anybody on up there have any power to create a commercial showing what Texas would be like without immigrants? Because that is
Closed for business.
Yeah.
Seriously.
the so-called Texas miracle would not happen without our large number of immigrants.
I will say UDEMS doesn't do commercials, but UDEMS investing this cycle a couple $1,000s in something called geo-targeted ads. So pretty much social media sites like Facebook and Instagram, they allow you to draw kind of very distinct 1 mile radiuses. And we have those over UT Austin, St. Edwards, Houston-Tillotson. We have some up in District 6 for Krista Lane's race. We're trying to put some in Wilco for that House race. I can't remember her name right now. So yeah, geo-targeted ads. They're not exactly commercials, but they will show up constantly on Facebook, Instagram, and we can guide them on the age range of people that see them. We're guiding them to younger folks, 18 to 30. So that's one of our big programs this cycle. Working decently so far.
Okay, without further ado, we'll call it the end of the meeting. Thank you very much for showing up, and thank you, Facebook friends.
Yeah.